Hey everybody, this is Craig with a quick disclaimer for this week's episode of Signed In. We had a bit of a technical snafu during the recording of this, and while we thought we were using our high-quality professional studio microphones to record our illustrious voices in all their high-fidelity sound, turns out, in fact, we were using the built-in microphone on my laptop. Didn't realize this because it was still producing a waveform that looked very much like what we would get if we were using the microphones, and so it wasn't until we hit editing that we realized our error, and we just didn't have the option to go back and re-record an episode and still release it this week. So our choices were to just not release something until 2 more weeks when our regular episode would come out again, or release this. We believe that you can understand us just fine. It's a little harder when we're all talking over each other, but overall, while it's not as high fidelity, there's enough quality there that you should be able to understand what we're saying. So we decided to just go ahead and release this episode. So again, this is not up to our typical pseudo radio quality standards, but we hope that you find lots to enjoy.
That's true.
It's not like me where you just don't shut up.
Well, you do when you get your point across. And I don't know when that day comes.
Well, if anybody would understand.
I would stop. No, you do actually stop every once in a while once we jump in your pauses because you're hoping we're going to say something that you can make fun of us for.
It's all set up.
It's right? You're like, wait. Opportunity.
I have to pay attention here.
He's like,
say something.
I was going to say this so it will lead into me going, no, you're an idiot.
If I say this, they'll say this, and then I can say this.
Exactly.
And it's going to be awesome. All my conversations...
The inner workings of a podcast.
That's correct. I operate all my conversations like a chess game.
Yeah.
Even friendly conversations. I'm just like, how can I set you up for your next move?
You're predicting five statements in advance.
And alternates.
Mm-hmm.
I have some sideboard comments. Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In, episode 103. I am Jeremy Superpro 33.
I'm Craig Croftdresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
How is everybody?
Excellent.
I'm good.
Good.
Tubular.
Tubular. Totally?
Boss.
Yes.
Tubular? And your boss.
I'm boss.
Mm-hmm.
Bitchin'. Could be another one.
I'm keen. But that's probably a little too far back.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's 50s, right?
Peachy.
There's a bit of a 50s throwback
Okay.
in that time.
I'd prefer to say the 80s. I don't know what
Daddy-o?
else I could do. Daddy-o, no.
That's not a state.
Terrible.
No.
A state?
Yes.
Of Daddy-o?
Mm-hmm.
The state of Daddy-o?
How you feeling, Daddy-o?
No.
Yeah, it's more of a...
Well, that was the initial question.
I know, but I was calling him Daddy-o because he said king.
Oh.
I really think this initial question of how you guys are doing should be what we do for the next hour and a half.
Uh-huh. I think it is already.
I have a puppy still.
What does that mean?
It's just, she's taking up some time.
Oh, so you didn't play much games? Is that what you're saying? Is this your immediate, like...
I played much games,
Okay.
but not new games.
Much games. I played much games.
What did you
if
play?
my students are listening to this program, ignore that.
You don't let your students listen to this, do you?
No.
They should.
If they... I don't tell them where it is.
You should totally have me come
You don't hide it from them.
You should have me come into a class sometime and say, this is how you should talk. And they'd be so confused, walk out there like, oh, that guy. It was like 4 sentences was one.
What did you play, Sean?
I sat down and played Walking Dead.
All of them?
Yes.
Nice.
2, 3, and 4?
Yes.
I didn't get around to 4. I meant 2.
I had to. And
so you have something to say about it, maybe?
And I dived into Borderlands a little bit more, too, because I haven't been playing it. And
I haven't either.
It was like... those were the 2. I was like, I have to play these games, and I just focused on those whenever I had time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was really light as well because I did go on some vacation, a little mini vacation for an extended weekend out to Denver with some friends. So
On much vacation?
I did a little vacation, not much.
A few vacation. Okay.
A little, tiny. A bit vacation. Extended.
back.
A vac. I don't know what's even happening. But I did play, I got like an indie game to talk about, and much to our chagrin, Activision provided us with a look at the new Skylanders game, Giants, and there was a reason why I was never playing that game.
I know.
And I really don't appreciate them stepping up and providing us that outlet. But we'll talk about that later, why that is a terrible thing for me to have introduced into my
Wow, I
life.
can see the bridge burning from here.
But we appreciate it.
Totally. Activision totally pushing. They're like, here you go.
I know,
Try
right?
this one out.
What about you, Craig?
I got a
Save us, your only hope.
I got a couple of indie games. It's not going to be a great save. I got a couple of indie games. XBLA, I played Serious Sam BFE. I keep wanting to say BEF.
Beef.
Where's the Bef?
Where's the best?
But BFE, I'm not sure what that stands for. Demo-wise,
You probably don't want
I tried the Wheel of Fortune demo that came out, I think, just on Friday. Disc-wise, because I am timely, I, of course, finally went past the first 5 minutes of Grand Theft Auto 4.
Nice.
So I could share a few ideas about that. I'm not done with it yet.
Okay.
But I can share some of my experiences. And then,
Try to remember.
because Jeremy said it's a game I must play, and I'm contractually compelled to do whatever Jeremy says
Correct.
when he says it with the command phrase.
You signed the fucking papers, dude.
Well, yeah. So I played Dishonored as well.
Awesome.
Just a bit. Again, I'm not quite done with that, although I think I'm really near the end.
Really?
So I think so, yeah.
It seems lengthy. Maybe not.
It does.
Let's talk
seem
about it.
lengthy.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it. That's a good point.
But anyway, there's good reasons why
Okay, yes.
why it might not be lengthy. Anyway,
That works. All right. So should we talk about some games then?
let's talk about some games.
Indie.
Start off with indie. One I tried was Lucky, or if Sean had designed it, it would be Lucky.
Lucky.
For 80 Microsoft points. I forgot to write down the company that made it, but it's the same company
It's a
that
Shonix joint. That was my game. No.
it's the same company that made those Agent Kendall games.
Was
the
it?
Bureau games, yes.
Okay, that explains a lot.
And so,
Because I also took a look at this briefly.
yeah, so this is kind of, it's hard to describe. It's a bit of a text adventure in some respects. It's a bit of a point and click puzzle game. A bit of a mindfuck as well in some respects. But so you often have like these static images, just like with the Kendall game. Although I guess with Agent Kendall there were some animated shots as well.
Yeah.
But this
There's
is
in this too as well.
Are there?
Yeah, because you're doing that running at the beginning. And that's
oh
all I remember.
yeah. Just
Minimal,
a little bit, yeah. But a large amount of it is just these static shots of these fully 3D rendered characters. And so it starts off and you're this kind of rich bratty dude. I got the impression you're kind of bratty. And you just slept with some chick and you're trying to be nice and then she's being mean to you and making you cry, basically. And then
I think I did make this game.
and then she says you're going to die of an aneurysm today, and then he kicks her out, and then he goes running and he dies of an aneurysm, and then she's there in this weird dream world, and you walk around and you find like map pieces that also are dollar bills sometimes, and it's contemplating like business and your purpose and all that. And describing it sounds terrible. But when I hit that 8-minute period, I was like, it's 80 points.
I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I looked at it and I'm like, there's nothing that I want to play about this at all. When I played it, I'm like, man, some of this dialogue I don't really know.
Right,
and it's like, kind of cheesy.
But then you hit that,
and then I hit that minute, and I'm like, I want to kind of know what happens.
I kind of want to see where this is going because it was really weird.
I agree. I'm in the same boat. It's weird because I wasn't even going to talk about it necessarily. You know, and you had it on.
You were
your
hoping to forget it, so
yeah. Because now I'm going to probably go back and spend $1,
and then not
it's
play.
$1 though.
Yeah.
Come on, I can spend $1 and just see what's up.
Yes.
And not play.
And it doesn't seem like it's going to be very long either.
Yeah.
I got the impression you were moving through pretty well. Although maybe it has more progression.
It's interesting.
I have no idea what to expect about it. It's so weird and so different from the other games.
And you're collecting these map pieces. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
You're kind of putting together this map from these little pieces that you get, and you have to put it together like a puzzle. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
I should say. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
You should buy it and let me know.
Okay.
You should play it.
You forgot the
Contractually obligated.
You forgot the command phrase. So.
What's the command phrase?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you.
God damn it!
You can't make me tell you unless you use the command phrase.
I'm all screwed by that contract. I I knew that would happen. Well, I checked out an indie game called Captain Foraxian.
I saw
from
this one, but I didn't try it.
It is 80 points. It is a very old, like a throwback 80s arcade-style game, Galaga style. They do some awesome stuff with some old retro audio in the game, as far as voice.
Excellent.
And so it's really muffled and computery sounding, but it's like, let's go! But it's all really, really muffled and all computered out. And so I really liked it a lot. It's just a great sounding game. It's a lot of fun. It's Galaga style as far as you're flying your ship around and shooting at the enemies as they're flying or shooting at you. But it also works as almost like a bullet hell game in some instances where they get a lot of the bullets coming at you.
I think the description mentioned that as well.
And then they have this mechanic where if you get close to a bullet or an enemy, you basically go into bullet time. And everything kind of slows down.
Every time?
Yeah. It's like every time somebody flies by you or you get close to somebody or a bullet, everything slows down automatically. It's nothing you do. You just have a shoot button and that's about it.
Interesting.
So you're clearing out these waves, and then as you clear out a wave, you kind of level up. And
does that tend to throw you off that it's...
It did at first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But then I started using it to my advantage, and it became a lot more fun. And
you're moving closer to the bullets just so you can keep it going.
Exactly, and it looked awesome. And it was it's a fun, technique in the game.
Yeah.
I really like it a lot. So it's just a nice little addition to an old-style game like that makes it fresh and interesting. And so there's really not much more to it. You're just going through these waves, and it's adding up your score and seeing as far as you can go. You do have a health meter.
Are there boss stages?
Not that I got to.
Okay.
So I don't know as of yet. I died before I got there. I played it a couple times and just couldn't get it. So
yeah, you should play better.
I should totally play better. As far as I know, there were no bosses though. You were just clearing out waves.
Sure.
And then you had your hull percentage, and as you took hits, your hull took damage. And after every round, if you cleared one of the waves a full round, you would upgrade your hull again. So you would go up to, if you were at 33%, you go up to 66, etc. So so it's just a really interesting, neat take on an old throwback game like that. So I recommend checking it out if you like those kind of games.
Excellent. The other one I checked out and purchased just today actually is FromPulse. Sells for 80 Microsoft points from Pixel Molotov. And so this is basically a rhythm. It's kind of a combination of a rhythm game with... I know there's a name for it, but I can't think of it. Where you have a side-scrolling runner, and they're just constantly running, and so you can't change that. You just kind of have to.
It's just always that perpetual
navigate.
motion.
Like Bit Trip Runner and all that stuff. And so this one's musical based. So there's some pretty banging electronic. That's the parlance, right? Banging.
Yes.
That's what the kids use.
Banging.
Electronic.
I think the only time you followed up with "that's what the kids say," it does more damage than whatever word you just said.
Parlance didn't do that already.
Well, it sure didn't help.
And so the basic story here is that you are this member of this highly evolved race that is really in tune with the music of the universe, and that it's that kind of. That's a central power of the universe, but then there's this weird energy, these beasts, this Discordia beasts that are attacking, and so your grandfather gives you this nebula ring, or I think is what it's called, and so that allows you to go back in time, and so you're going back to Earth and going back in time through different eras, and that's each stage, and then so as you're progressing through. There are obstacles and things like that, and then you see colored buttons on the ground, and as you roll over the colored buttons, it also corresponds to the beat of the song, of course, because it's a rhythm game.
Yes.
And so you have to press the right button, so the green one is just like a small hop, so you press the button as you go over it. If you see the blue button, there's always two of them, and that'll shrink you down, so you hold it down when you hit the first one and let go when you hit the second one. The yellow one is like the hop, but it's a bigger leap.
Okay.
And then the blue one is... like the shrink, but it makes you grow instead.
Gotcha.
And so then it gets more complex as you go along. And then basically you have this heart meter on the top, and so you start off with one heart, and if you lose all your hearts, then you have to redo the level, basically. But as you get a sequence of 5 hits in a row, it doesn't have to be perfect, I don't think. It's just as long as it's not a miss. You don't miss them, yeah. Right. If you get 5 hits in a row, then you gain a new heart. And so then, at the end of the stage, the guy Vega, I think is his name. He arrives where he's going, or he encounters somebody, and so you have story and you have dialogue. And this is one of the things that I think they built in order to get in more replays. That the number of hearts that you have gives you that number of dialogue pages, basically, because it's not animated. It's like a
that's kind of cool,
like a picture with a page of
which
dialogue.
I love that art as
Yes,
well. I think it's really stark difference between the game style art and the
it is,
art.
but they're both fantastic.
Yeah,
nice.
Like the levels as you're progressing through them look great. I find myself trying not to look in the background too much because I need to pay attention to the buttons that are coming up, but. I think both of them look great, and so if you don't do very well, then you're gonna get cut off in the middle of a conversation.
Wow.
Basically,
that's kind of harsh.
Well, it's to encourage you to come. I mean, you can choose your levels or whatnot, and the levels aren't very long. It's not a very long game in its total, and so. And even when I purchased it, there's a story mode and there's a story plus mode, and story mode has 2 fewer levels than the story plus mode, so you have to play through the story plus mode in order to progress. And I think with story plus mode, if you fail, then it also causes like temporal distortions, is what it said. And so I'm not sure what that's going to entail. I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Cool.
And so the music was great, the design was great, the presentation was great. It was a little bit. It was a little bit artsy in terms of the sort of issues that, we have this guy who's in tune with the music of the universe going through, and, he goes through in this first one, and he encounters a drunk guy, and then he encounters, like, a soldier dying on the battlefield, and then, like, a businessman waiting for the train constantly. So it's all very deep, but but it only appears in those segments in between the levels, and so, it doesn't hit you over the head if that's not your kind of thing. Mm-hmm. One neat aspect of it is that at the end of every level you get a QR code that you can use to get some free music. And so apparently the QR codes in Story Mode and Story Plus mode are different. So even if you play the demo, you can get 1 free song.
I saw that pop up and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I guess I still don't understand QR codes.
You scan it with your phone.
I know what to do, but it didn't occur to me. I'm just like, what is this? What is it? I got things to do.
So we're gonna go in. Is that a maze?
So
go in that box.
So for a buck, you get. It's not like I said. It's not a super long game, but you get a fair amount of experience there, and then you can also get a bunch of free music if
that's really cool.
You want to download it, and the one aspect that I wish it did have was there's no calibration. So I'm kind of terrible in some respects, and I'm not sure if that's because I can't calibrate it. If it's just a little bit off because I know I have to calibrate my other rhythm games a little bit, or if it's just me being terrible.
Right.
It could equally be either. But it's
is one of those more likely?
No, they're pretty equal.
Okay.
Yeah. So I liked it a lot. I picked it up already, and I'm eager to check out what Story Plus mode is going to do.
I do have a question. I played the demo of it, and I felt that loading screen was ridiculous.
It is because it's loading the entire song and the entire level.
Exactly. So is that for every level?
Where
it's like a long load? Okay.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Okay.
But
it was long. They even make a joke about it, though. I think in the loading screen, like there's some text that comes on.
Yeah,
like it takes a long time to
travel through time or something like that.
So I mean, they were even covering it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was clever.
Yeah, no, I had forgotten about that, but that was something that I noticed as well. I would agree with that.
Cool.
That's all I got for indie.
Me too.
Okay, XBLA. Does anyone have anything other than Serious Sam?
Walking Dead.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Do you
want to hit The Walking Dead first?
I can.
Okay.
The Walking Dead, I played episodes 2, 3, and 4. Mm-hmm. And holy crap. I mean, whoa. I love 2. I thought 2 was good. 3 kind of changed the gameplay up a little bit, which I thought was really neat about the game. And I'm having fun with that. Some of the choices that you make and things like that.
3 was also a game changer story-wise.
Well,
that changed the...
Yeah.
4 really, like... very
a zombie there?
About.
Going into 4, I was worried that it was going to be boring because the little clip they gave you at the end of 3, I was kind of like, I don't really know how this can go. But then I ended up enjoying 4 a lot.
Yeah.
Did you, maybe since it was more fresh for you since you just played 2, 3, and 4, did you find the 4 to have those scare moments that weren't present in the first couple?
No, I think that each episode has a really cool tone to it.
Yeah.
And
that changes up.
Yeah, and I think if you ever watched it, I think if you play it from episode 1 to the 5th episode, it might just make it... I don't know. I might enjoy it a lot more because it just amps up and amps up. Yeah. And then the story-wise too, it's very Walking Dead. I mean, it is called Walking Dead, but it's very Walking Dead. Like, I mean, just the subject matter and just just the reactions and the interactions back and forth between the characters and just the situations that they're in. I think, it's just a nice plus to the comic book and the show for me. But as itself, without having any other experience with Walking Dead, if I didn't, I'd still think this would be a pretty freaking cool game.
Yeah.
Because, especially at the end of 4, I'm amped for 5. I want to play it. And now I love the Telltale.
Telltale. You got it.
I know, but I went to say all for some odd reason.
Tell all?
Yeah, I went Telltale all, but I liked...
Tell all expose.
It's really fun. Like, I'd hate to... when people ask me about the game and I'm trying to describe it to them, I'm like, it's a point-and-click game, and they're like, oh. And I'm like, well, it's not...
It's an action point-and-click game.
I know, but really, in the sense, because when you're talking...
At heart, it's a point-and-click.
Exactly, and when you're talking to people that are used to those other games, I want them to know right off the bat, this is what this game is. Right. But it opens up. It's not just that. But at first, if you were playing it, and then, especially the first episode... It's a little like, oh my god, it's just button. But it does amp up and it does get a lot better. But I think that works with the story. When the story's starting to amp up, there's the action starting to do it too. Right. So I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing the 5th one, but I'm also looking forward to the replay on it.
And that's a big selling point, right? That's
right.
Pretty awesome that you get done with it and then you're like, I can't wait to start it over and play it a completely different way, or make some different decisions or choices.
And kill people. And be mad at people.
Sean and I were talking on the way down, and even our ending of 4 couldn't be more different.
Yeah.
As far as one of the main aspects of it. It is a pretty stark difference between how he ended 4 and how I ended 4.
Yeah.
And I still believe that it's sometimes maybe the illusion of choice, where things are still going to be predetermined and happen, just with a different person, or in a different kind of scenario, but still the same end result. But I'm really curious to see how 5 goes for you versus me, because we're in a different spot.
Yeah, exactly. And also there's an emotional response for me while playing this game.
Yeah.
And maybe playing this 2 and 3 really close to each other, and then playing 4 like the next day. Maybe that does it, but I still think the story is that deep that I get invested in these characters. Which normally,
I think so too.
When there's talking stuff in games, I don't pay attention to it. To be totally honest with you, if I'm playing a disc game and they get all like blah, 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 I'm like, shut up and let's get.
They all sound like Peanuts adults.
Pretty much. It's because I'm covering my ears, going la la la. I want to play a video game,
which is hilarious because I'm the opposite. I turn on subtitles so I make sure I don't miss something that they said.
Transcribes it.
I mostly put on. I
learns it more.
See, on Walking Dead, I turned on the subtitles even though I had the volume on.
Well, yeah, because you want to make sure you hear everything, right?
And that's what I love about the game is like I'm invested.
I think it might be the story.
Well, I don't know. There's been some stories in games that I interest me and I'll pay attention.
I find the characters very compelling.
But some other games I don't care about. I'm just like, let's go through the motions.
Like
this
Mass
one,
Effect.
well, yeah.
Still talking.
Oh, shut up. Blah, blah. But definitely. I heard that they're putting out a collector's disc of it. I'm going to have a hard time staying away from that.
Why? You already own it.
I know.
I don't think it's really going to have much that's new.
But it's
nothing.
It's still double dipping.
Why would you buy it on disc, though?
Because I'm an idiot.
That is true. There is that wild card.
Then I could let friends borrow it.
Jeremy, I think we've figured out his Christmas present.
I'm not buying him anything.
What, chips and dip?
Don't buy it.
I probably won't.
Or get the GameStop one that comes with the compendium because it has an exclusive cover. Of the compendium you have the single issues and the hardcovers, and so you should get that trade.
You got it. But it's a fun game, definitely worth it. Yeah, it's been so fun.
It's a good deal for that disc game if nobody's bought any of the separate DLC pieces.
And if they haven't bought any, I don't. It's so fun.
You don't want to talk to them?
No. I'll talk to them, but I'll just make fun of them.
It's just small talk.
Yeah. Well, you play that game yet? No. Dork.
Like we were for 2 months now?
Yeah, because
you wouldn't play?
Because I'm all that.
Alright.
Now I'm all that. Now I know it. And I'm like, what? Do something.
Now you can spoil 4 for Craig?
I won't spoil it.
I'm just saying you could.
I could.
Well, if anything epitomizes the term Walking Dead to me, is Serious Sam BFE.
BFE, I'm still trying to think what the E is.
So Serious Sam was a first-person shooter that came out in that same era that produced Duke Nukem and all the sort of post-Doom bubble where
everybody was making sort of parody or doing satirical versions of first-person shooters.
Yes.
And so Serious Sam was not very serious. And
ironic name that.
Yes, and it was interesting because it starts off and it's like these aliens invaded Earth and blah blah blah, and you're this soldier and you have to get to this point, blah blah blah, and I'm like, this isn't funny at all. There's like absolutely nothing.
I'm not laughing.
And it was like probably because I really
You're
devoted.
like, when's the dick joke gonna come out? Because something needs to happen.
I really devoted myself. I'm like, I'm gonna play all the way through the demo, and it's actually pretty fucking long. I'm like, I kept going around corners, and I'm like, when is this going to end? Because I had a certain extraction point that I had to get to, basically. Except there's no mini map. Like they show you, like you can bring up this holographic map of things, but you have no idea where you are, and it's not a detailed map. It's like this very general version of a map.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I had absolutely no idea where I was or how far I was from the end at any point. And I think it was probably at least halfway through the level, if not longer, before I heard a single one-liner from Serious Sam. Yeah.
That's good at least. Or is it not? Because is that what you were looking for?
Well, I mean, there wasn't really much else to look forward to. Because
although you are in that kind of element, so you're kind of expecting that stuff.
Exactly.
So when it's not there, then maybe
I'm like, are they trying to do a serious version of this? And then they were, when they did come, they were kind of pathetic. Like they were just kind of weak. I can't even remember any of them from the game, to be perfectly honest. No, and so then you're walking around this. I think it was a mosque even or something like that. But trying to get to your extraction point, and so you have waves upon waves of the same headless zombie dude who will pop out and shoot at you. And so then you have to shoot at them, and the pistol is remarkably good.
nice.
I prefer that over the shotgun, to be perfectly honest, if that tells you anything. And then they introduce a new kind of enemy, and so and then you can do these melee attacks if you get close, and so then you get like this trophy that you carry around instead of your gun, and then if you try to attack with it, you just kind of gently toss it at somebody. And so I wasn't really sure what the purpose of. Well, and then there was one more like these demon skeleton things. They charge at you, and so you can't really shoot them very easily, and so it's much easier just to kill them. And then you have like their head with like the big cow horns coming off, and I'm like, sweet, I'm going to use this on somebody, and then he just kind of gently tosses it at them
instead of like using it like a ram.
Right, exactly. I thought I was going to bash people with it, and it lasts me for a while like a melee weapon, but no, you just throw it. And the game was really, it was really a chore to get through it. And, this is that old style of game where you don't regenerate health.
Yeah.
And so you have to, probably 80% of the game, the purpose of the game, beyond just shooting wave upon wave of the same enemy, is to dig around in every corner of the place to look for tiny little boosts to your health or to your armor as you build that up, and then have
this big space.
Yes, precisely, and they're boasting like hundreds of secrets in each level or something like that, and so I'm like, oh my god, this is taking too long.
That is not a selling point.
No.
In each level.
By the way, it's before first encounter.
Before first encounter.
Just so we can sound somewhat professional.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, so it's before the first game?
Yeah,
is that what that's supposed to be?
I think it's a prequel kind of situation.
So no wonder he hasn't come up with the one-liners. He's boring.
That's part of his character development there.
He hasn't been built yet.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
He's got to ramp up to it.
All right. Well,
he's getting the hang of things, Craig.
And
easy on him.
so I couldn't really find, and the graphics weren't great, and it was updated from Serious Sam era stuff, but it wasn't fantastic at all. And so it just was really dull, and I found I seriously kept going, am I done yet? Am I done? Is that it? Here comes some more.
That's a good.
Shoot them. Am I done now? No? God damn it.
Do you remember if it was 10 or 15?
I don't.
Okay.
I didn't pay that close of attention to it, apparently. But yeah, it was just a disappointment. Well, not that I was expecting a ton of stuff from it, just because that's not my sort of nostalgia.
But maybe you were expecting to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Just like run around and shoot some stuff.
It was disappointing because it didn't really seem like they had done, it just felt kind of lazy.
Okay.
Not to project attitudes on the developers, and they probably worked very hard on it, but the end product ended up kind of feeling that way.
Not grabbing it.
No.
And you mentioned Doom in there too, and I forgot that I have that currently, Doom 3. That they just released for the Xbox, like the updated version of it, and I haven't gotten to it yet.
I heard it's terrible.
I wish I could tell you. Next episode I will tell you probably that very thing.
Very nice.
This was terrible.
Did it just come out?
I think it just came out a week or two ago.
Oh, wow.
So, I think. So anyway, I'll let you know.
Doom.
Yeah. It just reminded me. So
New
it's
engine.
another one I failed on playing. So.
Good job.
Yep.
Another one.
I do what I can.
Put that on the list.
So, demos, I didn't get to play the whole demo, but I think I pretty much know how it's going to go. Wheel of Fortune, both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy came out with demos for games that I think are coming out pretty soon. My guess is they're going to pop out right before the holiday season.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was a big fan of the Wheel of Fortune port on the PS2.
Okay.
I played that a ton, and it was, you know, very simple to use. It wasn't very frustrating. You could adjust the AI's intelligence. And basically they didn't mess with the formula very much.
Mm-hmm.
You can customize your character, though strangely they don't offer avatars.
That's weird.
And it may be because they have avatar-ish versions of Pat Sajak and Vanna White on there, and so they wanted to be consistent.
Everybody looks like bobbleheads.
They do look
They
like
have
bobbleheads.
giant, scary faces.
Yeah, or you turned on big head mode or something like that. Yes,
Exactly.
yes. Or that they come from the superhero squad. And
Ooh.
so
Scary little cherub baby.
That's what they look like.
Weirdo.
I mean, it's Wheel of Fortune. It's not going to be very surprising. Sean did make me wish that there was Connect support when he asked if you could just call out letters or, you know, and then I'm like, oh, you could spin the wheel or something like that.
Do we know for sure there isn't?
No, there isn't on the demo, is what I can confirm. There isn't on the demo.
Maybe it's better with Connect.
Exactly, they'll throw that little thing on the top.
Because that one seems pretty easy to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeopardy maybe is not the best choice.
No, it should recognize everything you say.
No. But the problem with that is the S and the T's and the P's.
Yeah, that might end up being a bit of a problem. That's a good point.
Summertime always asks me, why do they always yell at Pat? I'm like, because they have to
Enunciate
it.
Right.
So it's like, T. It's usually louder than that.
And because most of the people on that show are challenged.
Well, that too. By awesome puzzles.
Good save.
But there seems to be the ability to turn off like the mini games as well. So if you just want to play straight puzzles, like
Is that mini games?
well, yeah, I mean different versions of the games and stuff. I think like you start off with that bonus or that round where they're just going to start filling in letters and you have to buzz in. I'm guessing that counts as one of their mini games.
Oh, gotcha. So it's just more of a traditional. Here's the puzzle.
Yeah, if you want to just play the puzzles.
So the new bullshit they do to sex it up.
I love the new improved.
The new sexy Wheel of Fortune.
The sexy. It's not sexy. I miss. They should do an old. There should do an old school one where you get to pick out stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I want the TV.
Spend
$300.
That was on the PS2 version.
And I'll take the Dalmatian.
And what was
ceramic Dalmatian.
What was great was you could win these prizes, and some of the prizes seemed really normal, but some of the prizes were just off the wall. Like one on the PS2 version was like to win a trip to go skateboard on the Great Wall of China, and I'm like, what the heck? And it had like this whole spiel where he was describing the vacation you would have. And so
I hope they took those all for real examples, because that would be amazing.
So I hope they have some of that silly stuff in here as well.
I do wish you could do the pricing though. Then they put the rest on a gift card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They put the rest on a gift card for you.
But you could have old school looking people too. That would be awesome. Happy would be all
It's like they did with that Price is Right decades.
Yeah.
You want that? You like the '80s Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
This sounds and looks much better, by the way, than that Price is Right. Because I think about these games where I'm like, hey, any of these game shows, you'd love them as a game. You could just sit down and play. That'd be fun.
Right.
And then I play that Price is Right, and I'm like, this is a pile of shit.
Well, like I said, I mean, and you pointed out, they've done a Wheel of Fortune pretty much for every major console that exists.
Right.
And so they didn't really mess with the structure very much because it's pretty straightforward.
You spin the wheel, you guess a letter, you fill in the rest.
It's mostly the dressing that you give it and then adding new puzzles to it. Now, you do unlock different stages, so you can... literally stages. You know how they would travel around, and so there's like a New Orleans one.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was, I believe that was in the PS2 version as well.
I hope I can unlock Teen Week.
Teen Week.
That's going to be great.
But so, as you can guess, it's up to 3 players. There is online, Xbox Live Play available
nice.
as well.
That's my other question was going to be.
Yeah, so that should be actually quite
so
a
they're
bit of
doing
fun.
it right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still just Wheel of Fortune, but
Right.
who doesn't love Wheel of Fortune?
And my guess is it's going to come out at a value price.
Yeah, I hope that they keep it at that like $29.99.
I would be
level.
surprised if they didn't.
The two
That'd be
of them?
nice.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So
I don't know about Jeopardy, but Wheel of Fortune.
They should do a
definitely.
2-pack for $50.
No.
Yeah.
If they throw prices right in there for like 35.
You don't want that game.
you
I
knock
bought
the
that game
price
for
down.
I bought that game for $5.
That's why I said 35.
It is a waste of money. I will let you borrow that that Price is Right.
Okay.
I need to do that.
But yeah, I'm like tempted to get it.
I am too.
Yeah.
Fortune.
I am
Agreed.
too.
Just watching you play it,
pretty
I was
nice.
like, hey.
And they have the real voices in there,
I
those
wanna
people,
play.
of like Pat and Vanna.
It seems like it, yeah.
So-
Because I know they had Vanna on, because they used to do those video segments on the PS2 one, like she
Yeah.
would be there, but they didn't have Pat.
You're right, because he wanted
and
more
the,
money.
and
I'm
the
sure.
announcer guy too. Yeah.
Nice.
So
All right, cool. And you haven't checked out Jeopardy yet, but
no,
I'm assuming maybe same
it's the
kinda
same companies,
deal.
and so I'm gonna guess they're just doing a
Cool.
pretty straight
I
adaptation.
wonder how big Trebek's mustache is, though.
He doesn't. It's mustacheless.
Oh.
It's modern Trebek.
Mustache.
Modern Trebek. I wish we
Although-
could throw back on those too.
Maybe you can have different skins.
Yeah, you can change, unlock his skin.
Very cool.
Avatar Awards, they should give you the Trebek mustache.
Yes, exactly.
That'd be great.
And I want Vanna to spin the letters. Like she
Not
used
just go
to.
touch it?
Yeah, exactly. My job's
That's part of the
hard.
sexification of Wheel of Fortune.
My job's hard.
Sexing it up with touchscreens
Yeah.
instead of flipping that shit around.
They're all tablets.
Yeah, it'll
Actually.
just be a giant tablet, and they'll just
Tablet.
move.
Oh, here's our Wheel of Fortune. You just touch the screen, and here's yours, old man, spinning around, falls off. You look like a fool. Alright.
I want to play that game.
Nice.
I can't wait
So
to
we
play
good?
the demo.
Excellent.
Do we have any more demos? Is that
That's it.
That's it. Just those two.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to discs.
Yeah.
You want to touch back on Dishonored?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
we
You want me to
talked about
lead
last
off with
episode?
Dishonored?
Unless you want to save it.
No, that's fine.
All right.
I had no preferences about where to place it. I placed it at the end of my list just because it was the latest thing I played.
All right.
So
Freshest, right?
fresh.
Questions for
I
me?
know.
So we talked about it last episode.
Correct.
I played a little bit. I played a
Yes.
little bit more after that episode.
Okay.
Very little though. I think I only did the first mission and a half. I guess the
I think
first
so.
two
I think
missions
so.
and a half or something like that.
Yeah, because I just like to see what kind. Like I was trying to figure out how your play style was different from mine. So I was
Stalking me, right?
looking at your achievements. And so
It is kind of stingy with the achievements, right? At first.
a little bit. There's actually there's a ton of secret achievements, and those are all tied to things that you do within each level.
Like
And
goofy things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, some are goofy. Some of them are just kind of because you get a lot of optional missions. So you have
Right.
a primary mission, and then as you progress along and explore and talk to people, it offers you optional missions as well. And so a lot of the optional missions are tied to those.
Yeah, because it seems like
extra
there's a ton of
achievements.
stuff you could miss.
Right. And then there's stuff, that is tied to, the actions that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a game, it's a game, and you mentioned this before, where you can kind of choose how you want to play it.
Right.
You can be very upfront and actiony. You can be very stealthy, and you can do anywhere in between, really.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because it is, and I like stealth games, and I had a lot of fun with the last stealth game that I played, Mark of the Ninja, and then even when I played on the harder difficulty, I didn't do a ghost run on it, but it was pretty darn close.
Yeah, where you were trying to just get through and not be avoid everybody.
Yeah, not kill anybody, not be noticed by anybody at all, because I was just running through as fast as possible, because I'm like, I don't want to fight you! And so I took a look at some of the achievements, and there's a lot of different things. I mentioned at the top of the show that it doesn't seem like it's going to be an extremely long one. It's like a mid-campaign size.
Okay.
I feel like I'm nearing the end of it because just logic-wise.
I think what I was feeling is that it seems like there's not a lot of levels, like missions.
No.
But when I was in that one, the first one took me a long time, and I think that's
It depends on how you play it.
Exactly, and I think that's what it comes down to. Is I was like feeling like, wow, this is taking a long time because I'm just fucking around and like
Right.
I'm going everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, because I ended up having, because I'm trying to, basically what I was getting to is that there's an achievement for getting through without killing anybody, without being noticed by anyone, a perfect ghost run. And at the end of each level, they actually check off if you did a ghost run on that. And that's what I've been doing. for this run, and then I'm also going for the one where I don't buy any mystical upgrades, so that's a little caveat. I haven't played around with some of the supernatural powers. But I find that Blink is plenty. That first level Blink, where you can just kind of... You don't really teleport, you run super duper fast.
Yeah.
I figured that out because, you know...
Or jump higher.
Right, because if there's like little obstacles in the way and you... like in between where you're going to, then you can knock those over and those can still like alert people.
Oh,
they can hear that stuff. Because in later levels they start putting little, like they put little things on the edges of ledges so that you're not just like rushing around and doing all that stuff.
Because it'll make noise.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, that's funny that you say that because I always viewed it as kind of a teleport. And I think I even talked about it last time because I just did it in open areas. Yeah. And you don't see it when you're first person. No. You just
and you can't go through walls. You can't even go through like bars or anything like that.
You have to still see the place.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to be able to walk to it because you can see it through bars as well. But anyway, so I'm doing this ghost run. One level I had a kill appear. I think it was an accidental kill.
Okay.
I think I knocked the dude out, and then I closed the door on his head because I heard a crunching noise when that happened. He was lying on a pile of 3 other knocked out dudes.
Oh.
It's not my fault.
My bad.
And so I got there, and I'm like, when did I kill a guy? I didn't kill anybody, because I think I would remember that, because it would be completely different from anything I've done in the game so far.
Were you really nice to somebody? Did you kill him with kindness?
I did. That must have been it.
I know you, Craig.
I did. I left them a little.
You probably really helped
I baked
somebody.
them a cake.
That's right.
And it was their birthday. It happened to be.
That's right.
And I took credit for that, even though I didn't know it was their birthday.
That sounds like you.
But my point of mentioning that was that I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do this over again. And it didn't take me a long time to get through that level the first time, and I was kind of pissed. But I knew where a lot of things were. I knew where some of the problem areas were, and I had some new ideas about how to try things out. And I think it took me like half the time, even though I was doing it basically the same.
Once you just know what you're supposed to do. And
Right, because I was being a little less careful in certain areas because I knew I had a basic idea of where enemies were.
And technically, when you know that, there's some areas where you don't even have to go to.
Right.
Like there's all these sections you don't even have to go over.
Yeah, I took the first time I took like this long winding path, and I'm like, fuck it, I can just climb over this building.
And see, that's the other funny thing is when we talked about that when I was talking about the game too, where I was running around for so long, and then all of a sudden I was like, looked up, and I'm like, oh man, there's all these other ways you could be going above everybody and around. Right. It's like you really don't get stuck. You can get out of almost every area you're in. You just have to look up.
Yeah. Now, I'm playing it on normal, and I do have to restart a fair amount just because I'm trying to ghost things, and so being noticed is a failure for me. But I find the game to be pretty easy on normal.
Okay.
What was your opinion about it?
I was playing on normal. I think it was okay. There was a couple times where I get noticed and I had like 4 dudes on me.
Sure.
And that got a little...
Because I'm not getting into combat, so that might be
that got a little much. Because, I wasn't following in that where I was going for a certain... I want to get this perfect. So when I ran into those situations, I wasn't resetting. So I was fighting it out. Mm-hmm. And so there were a couple times I had to heal up quite a bit.
Okay.
But that was just when I was surrounded by 4 guys and really got hard to defend myself. Outside of that, I seemed to feel on normal I was being stocked really well with like heal options.
Yeah.
And, life replenishers.
I rarely need to use them. I mean, I think it's automatically set, or I have the auto mana heal set, and so it uses some of those, but that's only just because, on rare occasion I'll like burn a few of them, like in quick succession. Because I'll like blink behind a dude, pick his pocket, blink out of there again in like 5 seconds.
I will say also I was using a lot of those powers because I was really playing around with a lot of options. I kind of wanted to see. I kind of felt like when I was playing it, I knew it was the kind of game where I wasn't going to play to the end.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to experience as much as I can in this and kind of get a feel of what the stuff you can do and how I can do this. So I would specifically target people and like clear things out and then leave like one guy so I could like mess around with them and see everything I could do,
Yeah.
So that stuff became fun, but it definitely is a different play style when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because I was going through a lot more of that mana replenisher because it was me using those powers a lot, like my time, motion, stopping, and everything like that.
I mean, I fully acknowledge that I'm kind of restricting my first experience with it, but in my defense, it is a game that is designed to be played over and over again, and that's what I was alluding to at the beginning, where it's not really a bad thing that it's a mid-size campaign, because I think it is specifically meant to be played multiple times, because not only do you get to do things in different ways, there's lots of different paths that you can explore, there's lots of achievements tied to those things, but also it kind of affects what's going on.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've had very, very low chaos because no one notices me at all, and so that might also be a reason why later levels tend to feel a little bit easier for me because they're not throwing up their defenses quite as much because
not stocking as many guards. They're not, because you're not killing people.
Right. They barely know I'm there until until somebody has been knocked out or disappears.
You're doing everything underground.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm fully aware that might be a major effect, and I do hope to be able to play through with a different play style as well.
And I feel also the way you're playing is going to be a little faster. Or do you think
it can be? But here's why it was surprising for me that I felt it was easy, is because ghosting is usually like the most difficult thing that you can do in a stealth game. In some stealth games, you can't even do it, and so I at the beginning I was having to start over, do restarts, or basically I was failing a bunch. But as I get going, and maybe it's just me becoming more comfortable with the system, but it's not like super duper easy, and I am only playing it on normal. There are 2 more difficulty settings above it, so but I was just amazed that at this point I feel like I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't insurmountable, because I was telling myself I'm going to ghost it until I get frustrated with that, and then I'm just going to play through so that I get the experience.
Then we'll kill some more.
But I've never hit that. It's the same thing with the non-upgrades for the supernatural powers, because I got a ton of those runes to do it, and so I'm like, at any point if I feel like this shit is getting too much, I'm going to say fuck it to that achievement and just max out whatever I can using the runes that I have. And I've never really hit that point where I feel like I need something more than the blink.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of interesting for me. But
so you do enjoy it though?
I do enjoy it. It took a long time getting into it at first. It moved a little slowly, and I mean, I like it. There are a few criticisms that I have for it. Largely, the criticisms I have end up because it feels to me like it's a little. There's some finesse missing from some aspects of the game. One thing is the story and how it tells things, and how the game interacts with the player and kind of keeping the player informed lacks a lot of finesse, I think. There's a lot of info dumping, which is weird.
I think what we talked about too when I was talking about it was that I didn't feel invested in the story at all.
Right.
Like I like the idea of the gameplay.
Me either.
And I think the gameplay is great, but the story is kind of just lost on me. Where I'm just like, well,
it's kind of generic. It's really generic. I'm making these predictions. I'm like, oh, I know. In the first chapter, I had a pretty good prediction about how it's going to end. I haven't finished it yet, but
you think
I'm still pretty sure I know how this is going to end based on where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, it doesn't. But there are some neat, subtle elements in there. Like instead of just being like, "Oh, you're really close with this little girl," the Empress's daughter, because you're the bodyguard for the Empress, if you've forgotten. But instead, when you first see her, you give her a hug, and then later there's a scene where you can take her hand and all of that. And so those were nice, subtle things. But then everybody else is just like, so let me explain exactly what's going on to you, even though you should know this. Right. Like, people tell me what happened to me.
I also feel it's a little disjointed in the way that it's set up with the missions.
Yes.
Instead of just, going back to a hub.
Right.
And doing everything there, and then setting out on your new mission.
Right.
Complete with a load screen, you go into that it's almost like a room.
Right.
You go into there. Then you go and meet the guy at the end when you're done with your mission, and go back to the hub screen.
Yeah.
Everybody recaps everything that happened, and I'm like, that's kind of just disjointed.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, per se. It's not like there's things missing, or there's things that are terribly messing things up. It just feels really clunky,
I think kind of what it makes me feel like is that whatever they do for their follow-up to this will definitely be like a better experience.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of potential for them to grow.
Yes.
Like, they've got the gameplay dynamics down.
Yeah.
They know it works. They can maybe tweak some of that.
Yeah.
But they can also work on that story aspect of it and make you maybe feel a little more involved. So I kind of look at it as knowing going ahead. The same way I felt maybe about Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Where the first game I was kind of but then 2 was like, they fixed what they needed to fix and made this a much more enjoyable experience.
Right.
We'll see.
So that was one aspect that didn't quite work for me. Another aspect actually is the stealth. The stealth works, but it's not intuitive in my impression.
Yeah.
So basically, the way stealth works is kind of guesswork in a lot of
So you don't
respects.
have that stealth, you don't have that power that shows you like everybody's where they're seeing.
No, I didn't get that.
Man, that seems hard to be playing through on Ghost Mode without that.
It's not, because there's these weird things.
Okay.
Because I found it very interesting that they basically introduced how to hide from people by you playing a game of hide and seek with the little girl. Because as I was playing that game, I really got the impression that, like, she could totally see me. She just is not finding me because she doesn't want to go back. She doesn't want this game to end, right? You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about all the AI. It's like, because they developed this system of stealth, but I never really have a strong idea about when I'm in stealth and when I'm not in stealth. For several reasons. One is that shadows at a distance, not shadows up close. You can't be fully hidden when somebody's standing directly over you or something, just because you're in a shadow. But shadows with a distance can help you out, but you never really have a great idea of when you're in shadow and when you're not in shadow. Like, you can see shadows, and sometimes it darkens, the color of the hands that you see in front of you. But I never really felt like I'm definitely in shadow. Oh, now I'm definitely not in shadow. And so there was a lot of guesswork with that. In addition, you can crouch behind things and just basically hop, which is what you do in the hide and seek game. And I feel ridiculous when I do it. Because there's no lock on to cover or anything like that. You just kind of sit next to it. And so you have to guess whether your body is out enough or not. And sometimes I feel like it is in cover, but somebody then starts to see me, or I feel like I'm standing out in the open, but the dude's like 5 feet away and he can't see me at all. And then on top of that, the reason I don't need that power to see through walls is because wherever you are, you can kind of lean out to see,
which is a weird dynamic too.
It's really weird because it's not the first time I've seen leaning around corners, and I feel like they did this to make it easier for the player, so it's not as frustrating, so that there aren't things obscuring your view. But you basically can clear the whole screen, and it feels like if I was to turn the camera around and look at my character, he would be comically hanging out there, like with both of his hands and his head out, taking a look at the dude. You can't see me.
Because how it works too is it's with the Y buttons. You push the Y button, you kind of lean over.
Right.
And so what happens is, as long as you're in a spot that you can't be seen.
As long as you start in that spot.
Right.
Yes.
As long as you're in a spot you can't be seen. If you lean out with that Y, you're not going to be seen.
Right.
As long as you're normal standing.
Sometimes I get seen.
As long as you're normal, how it works is that as long as your normal stance is a non-visible spot, no matter where you lean, it should not register.
Yes.
So they could be like looking right at you.
Right.
So it's really just a way for you to move the camera around and see what's over there, not your actual character.
But you can completely clear. So, I mean, I understand the rules and I'm capable of using the rules, but it ends up kind of breaking the feel of stealth. I don't feel like I'm hiding behind anything when I do the lean. I feel like I'm standing out in the open and I'm invisible.
I really wish that they would have been able to orchestrate some kind of third-person view that flips the camera around, like, in Gears of War, for instance, when you go into cover and you can kind of see the camera now behind you, and that would also allow you to see where you're covered.
Right.
But they would need the snap-on to the cover kind of thing.
Right,
you'd be able to, like, actually cling to an item.
And so what I found, and then the flip of that is that ground stealthing is really difficult because, and here's another thing, because they have these, obviously you can hide behind these things set up all over the maps. And so, in the very first level where you're kind of learning all this stuff, and, I hid behind one and I was watching this, and I'm totally in this dude's periphery vision. He's standing at a place where if he turned his head, he could directly see me crouching there.
They're not paid very much.
And so I'm like, okay, so I guess basically I can just treat it like they don't have periphery vision if I'm hiding in this. And so then he starts to walk down the hallway, and I'm like, okay, I want to get down that hallway. And so I'm like, I need to move a little further forward, but there's not another stealth shield out there. But I'm like, oh, there's this corner. And so he's going to be walking this way, and he's going to be looking in this particular direction, and so he's not going to see me in the periphery. So I go over there and kind of crouch behind the corner, and he walks, and he immediately sees me. And I'm like, what the fuck is the rule here? Because this is no different than when I was standing behind the stealth shield.
Did you ask him?
Except, yes, I did. I said, wait.
We're going to battle this out.
Hold on.
But I want to know.
Did you seriously not see me over here?
If you did, you can say. I'm not going to tell anybody, dude. If you saw me, you can say. If now you saw me and, like, there's a camera here or something, and so you can't, like, be seen that you saw me and didn't... I understand. I get it. But did you see me before? I just need to know. And then you stab him in the neck.
Yeah. He's like, no, I didn't.
So it got really frustrating, and so then I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm not just going to go around on the ground. I'm just going to climb around on all these vents and ducts and tops of buildings. And it's really, really hard for anybody to see you there. You're like super stealth up in the air.
Because, again, nobody looks up.
Well, there are... Later on, you get some new enemies, and they hide out in places. And so you do kind of have to be aware to make sure that they're not just looking out of a window or on top of a roof, kind of look... Because there have been times where I'll blink over somewhere. There was this one time I blinked onto this roof, and I'm like just kind of strutting forward, just normally walking, getting my bearings, and all of a sudden...
Not even like creeping?
No. Well, no, I think I was creeping, but, I wasn't being super cautious. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I got attacked by this dude, and I'm like, where the hell were you? And so, I reloaded, jumped back up there, and he was just fucking sitting there on the roof where I teleported, just looking over the edge of the roof. And I'm like, I just totally walked right in front. I just teleported there, and then I just walked in front of, how's it going, dude?
You didn't say anything, and he came up behind you.
Exactly.
It's like, this fucking guy. What's he doing?
So,
excuse me, sir.
I don't think it was to be up here.
At least on normal, at least in the sense of trying to avoid combat, I find the stealth difficult to understand on the ground, and then abnormally strong in the air.
Yeah.
Now you can't always use an aerial path to get places, but now that said, there was some neat stuff later on in one of the later levels where it kind of changed up gameplay, and you were basically stealthing, but you weren't stealthing by hiding. You were stealthing by being normal. You were mixed.
Like the Assassin's Creed kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Blending in.
Right. And then there were points where you did, because you would go trespassing in these certain areas. You were at a party, essentially. And so, there are allowed areas and there were not allowed areas. And so I would switch up, basically how I was behaving depending on where I was.
That's
and so I thought that was a really neat, that was where it really started, the gameplay started bringing me in. And then, again, it being kind of easy, I find that at this level it's being easy. Now, the last level that I just finished was really fast. It took me like 3 times as long to get into the place as it did to accomplish my mission once I got in there. And then once I got out, I was gone. Because I cleared myself a path, and basically I'm like, fucking, I'm not going through all that shit again. I just ran towards the ramparts and jumped in the water and then swam to the boat. I'm like, fuck this. And so...
But it's great that you can, decide to do that.
I know. I really like that.
Really cool.
I really like that.
Yeah.
But and granted, I think my mission inside the inside that place was a lot easier because I had found in a previous level like this awesome key that allowed me basically to open any door. So
that's cool too.
Yeah, because
then if you didn't find that, you then have to
I would have to search for I'd have to pick pockets and search for things. Yeah, so
I like stuff carries over.
I liked that as well. And I do like the game. I just feel like there was this potential to be a little more savvy with things.
Some rule tightening.
Right, exactly. And so, it would reduce some of my frustrations too, trying to do the ghost run. Once, those early stages were very difficult because I was basically forced to be on the ground, or I was just running around on the ground because I was ignorant. Yeah. And then once I figured out I can just climb around, that's when it became really, really easy to do things.
Yeah.
So, I like it, and I really look forward to playing it through in a different style. Oh, one other thing that was kind of clunky, I mentioned that the way that you play affects the world and affects the story. Mm-hmm. And one thing that was kind of clunky was it wasn't just that they mentioned, hey, how you play is going to affect how things work. They specifically tell you, if you play this way, it's going to affect the world in this way. And if you play in this way, it's going to affect it in this way. I'm like, okay... Great.
It's going to be worse if you kill people.
Well, they'll say specific things that will change.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I know.
Are these prophets you're talking to?
Not story aspects. And these are on the loading screens.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
I'm like, come on, guys. You could have left... I mean, just say how you play the game is going to affect it. And so then...
Don't spell it out for you?
Yeah, exactly. Then I'm going to be like, I got to play it a second way to see what's different.
You're going to say Craig. Craig.
Yeah.
If you play it this way, this will happen.
It's true.
Also,
put some pants on while you play.
Exactly. We can see you. Well, cool. I'm glad you got to check it out at least, because I thought it would be a game that style-wise, at least you would, dig.
It is, and I really respect the sort of the gameplay is what I really like a lot, and the ability to kind of choose your own path.
Yeah.
That does remind me a lot of Mark of the Ninja, and what I liked about that one.
Cool.
And so I actually really look forward to playing it through multiple times.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you will do that.
Maybe not right away, because I am red boxing it right now.
I'll play half of a game, and you'll play it 8 times.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
I like to get my value. You like to collect things.
I do. Speaking of collecting things. Fuck. Skylanders Giants.
Oh, I never wanted to talk about this on the show.
I didn't either.
I have to say that right now.
But I'm glad that we're able to.
Sure.
Appreciative that we're able to.
Oh,
I should
yeah,
say.
most definitely.
Here's the thing. I've avoided this game on purpose. Sean and I both avoided this game on purpose.
Definitely.
Have you had this discussion before?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was not involved in that.
We talked about, I think probably in our travels to from here.
Probably.
I remember last year when it came out, we were talking about how awesome it is, and that I never want to play it because I'm a sucker. And it's completely geared towards
you love it when there's virtual card packs in the game.
Exactly. So imagine if there's actual physical things you can get.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Whatever.
If they were blind packs you could buy, I'd be in.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that?
Mysterious pack.
That would be more enticing to me than the fact that I could just see the
just
one.
pick what you want.
Well, because they put them in 3 packs, and then you'd have one that's just covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd buy them.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yes.
They should not do that. All right, so
Marketing people are taking notes right this moment.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the game by this point. I mean, it's geared towards all ages.
Yeah.
So it is geared towards children, actually.
I'm actually not very clear on the gameplay itself. I have a basic idea.
It's just basically an action platformer, action adventure platformer kind of game.
Okay.
You're going around as
is it like it's connected with Spyro the Dragon a little bit?
Yeah, they tied that in. They tied the character in, and like a bunch of those characters. I know Spyro was in the first game that you could get him as a character.
So it's kind of got the. When I look at the screens, I haven't played any, but it looks a lot like the old. I mean,
it is
the same vein.
I have
over the top type. Not
caveat.
over the top, but
caveat to this: I still have never played the original Skylanders, so I don't know what's changed completely from that game to this game.
Right.
I can't see them taking things out. So I think they probably just added new things in. But so there's
generally don't mess with a formula like that.
It is a platformer action adventure, but there's no jump option in the game.
Okay.
So it's a little odd to be playing a platformer that works on that level that doesn't have a jump button. You're dealing with they'll basically put these jump pads in.
Oh, okay.
So in areas where they need to boost you up to other areas, so you'll go over them. And I don't know why the reason is to not have a jump.
Yeah.
And it might be because they need to keep the
difficulty down.
I think it might be because they want the characters to play the same way.
Oh.
And so maybe you have like a big character who wouldn't jump, and so instead of trying to define this character making sense, I don't really know the design reason. So basically, you have a portal that you plug into your Xbox, and it's a little lit area, and you put the character on top of that, and that's the character you play in the game. So the character that you're looking at, the little sculpted figure, becomes the playable character on the screen.
They're very well painted, like done very well.
Yeah, they're pretty good looking.
They're pretty neat looking.
And there's 8 different like
nerd.
Sean's gonna get mad when his customs don't translate into.
No, that's the other problem. Because I look at those and I can paint that.
You could.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant format.
Yeah.
So the starter kit for Giants comes with 3 figures, and it's 2 regular figures and then a giant figure, because the Giants are new with this release.
Right.
And so they have different abilities where they can like destroy rocks or knock down walls, and so you will need them in certain areas. So it almost works like
so you switch characters through,
and it does it real time.
Interesting.
So it's kind of brilliant that way.
Yeah.
It's actually a really brilliant design in my opinion. You put the character on there, and just the fact that if you want, like, you see this guy, and it's like, oh, I think that guy looks cool. Now you could buy that guy, put him on the thing, and play as him.
Right.
And they all have different abilities. I think generically they do the same thing, as far as different attacks, but they do it in different styles.
I see.
And I believe that they cross over between platforms. So I think that even if you played as this guy here, it's stored on that figure. So now if you play it on like I believe they go cross-platform, so you can use it on any other system.
Whoa.
Wow.
And it's brilliant in the fact of, it's available on 3DS, Wii, PS3, Xbox, but as long as you have the portal that plugs into that machine, all of those figures are...
Because it's just a USB port, right?
Exactly, and then all those figures are separate, and they just sync up to that portal. And so the same figures are usable in any of those machines. So it's not like they need to make separate figures. It's a brilliant model, and I see why they've made millions with it, because it's completely preying on people like me and Sean that just want to collect the figures, because we're children.
When I first saw them, I'm like, that'll be...
Exactly.
I was like, oh, well, I'm like, what is this? I was like, this is a crazy kids game. And then I put the little thing, I'm like, oh, well, there's a package. And I put it on the portal, and then the little guy showed up. I'm like, never mind, this is cool. And then I walked away.
I got away. So you work through different stages where you're doing a mission, you're trying to get, there's a general, I think this game is taking place telling like an older story of how the Giants came to be, or where they went. Yeah. Because it's introducing those Giants into the gameplay. Right. And so you play as your character, but you can take it off the portal at any time, and it kind of brings up a screen that says, place your character on the portal. Right. And so you take one off, put another one on, and it immediately goes back in, and now that guy shows up in the game. Or he has a little load screen thing really quick, where he shows up and then does his little saying or whatever, and then you're playing as him. So there's many times in the level where you need to switch to a different power, and so I'm just taking it off and putting on the new one, and then that guy shows up, and then that's who you play as. So I can't imagine having 10 of them around. Like, oh yeah, this guy. And then so what you'll do is you'll get into some rooms that there's a gate that needs to open by a certain element, and there's 8 different styles of characters, 8 different elements that they use. So you'll, for instance, this one you need one that has associated with life. And so you put that in there, and now you can go in there, and there's hidden treasures that you can find. So it was all fine and good in the first level because it uses all the ones the game comes with. And then I get to the second level, and I go in one that you need a fire guy, and I'm like, I should buy a fire guy.
So that's brilliant. Kind of in the sense of how the Lego games are, where you have to grab a character and you have to.
Except you could go out and buy those Lego characters in the store now.
See
that's how you get them.
Yeah, that is wrong. Oh, that is so
Isn't it great?
Awesome.
So, it is really geared towards kids. It's an all-ages game. It's one of those games, it's much like Lego. It really felt like playing that. It may be a little less involved, because it is almost a little mini RPG, too, because you're finding items, you are buying items in shops, because you're getting coins and treasure that you can spend, and I believe you can buy different hats that give you different buffs to your abilities. You are leveling up your character. I believe there was a level cap with the first game of 10, and they expanded it with this one up to 15. So you can use your characters from the first game who are maxed out at 10, and now they have 5 more levels they can go up. And it adds in some new abilities for guys to unlock, because all the different characters have different skill sets that you can unlock. There are different abilities or there are different attacks. And those are all independent of that character. So if I'm playing as somebody, he's collecting all this money, it saves onto that character, basically. So if I take that off, now I play with another one, it's their money and their stats. So it's really interesting. It's a really brilliant setup.
So you got to remember the last guy you played with.
But that's awesome, because then you'll have sheets with what they have, and oh man.
I'll say this: it does come with a poster.
Oh no!
I included all that in there so you can see it. So I know what I'm doing, because I'm thinking 3 moves ahead.
You are thinking 3 moves ahead.
It is a poster that has all the characters, and then the characters all come with a little sticker sheet and a card, like a collector card. And then the sticker, you can take the sticker off and put it on the sheet, and it shows that you got the guy.
No!
And you can go online with all of them, and I think scan them in there or enter their code in there, and then do some online stuff with them as well.
That's awesome.
Where you I think you can play some online versions of the game with that code.
It's making an in-action figure an action figure.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it's just really well done, and you can play up to 2 players, I believe, on the same machine, and you use the same portal. I think if you have 2 controllers going, you can put up to 2 characters on there, and so it knows which one is which, and you can switch them out that way.
That's awesome.
So it all uses the same, but it's only maxed at 2, and I don't think it's online. I think it's just local.
Sure.
But it's still pretty cool. You can split screen it Lego style with kids, or anybody else.
Me
and Sean.
This is not. I might just. Craig, you want to borrow it forever?
You don't even want it now?
You have no idea.
I do have an idea.
It's like...
I know full well.
And they're so brilliant, because you go to Target, there's Target exclusive ones.
There are.
You go to Toys R Us, there's Toys R Us exclusive ones.
Sure are, buddy.
And then they have their regular ones. I don't know. So cool.
There's this really awesome giant, though he's a shark. He's cool looking. He's really awesome looking. He's not out yet, though, don't worry. And then the guy with the big eyeball. Yeah.
Oh.
He's cool.
So cool.
So it's totally for kids, but that's us. So it's
exactly.
right up our alley. And I think it's a really enjoyable experience. I'm going to pass it off to Sean so he can play it and buy some, and then I'll get it back from him and play some more.
Right.
Maybe.
No, I'm not gonna buy.
I guess
I'm not gonna buy some.
You know what? There's the. I was just thinking, what's the incentive of people not switching stuff around? But if the data is stored on that figure, you're never going to be able to level up that figure. Like if you basically be working off of the stats that your friend has already done.
Yeah.
So you'd want your own.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can level them up yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What a bunch of jerks.
It's pretty
They
tight.
thought that stuff through.
I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, again, everybody's been playing that game for like a year now, and I know it's been addictive, and some of those figures get crazy, sold out, and like go for a ton of money on the secondary.
Jesus,
I know they did some exclusives like through E3 and other places like that, and those went for a ton of money. And I know they do variants where the character's the same, but like they have a different paint thing, and or they're like limited, and so there'll only be one of these in a case that looks like this, and so then those will go for a ton, even though they don't play any different. Anywhere that there's an option for them to do variants of that stuff, they're going to take it, right?
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing the ones you pick up.
Yep.
All right, that's it for me on the
Gotta catch them all.
I'm sure you can talk about it next time.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'd like to hear your experience with it.
Oh wow.
You can tell us about some Grand Theft Auto?
Sure.
I'd like to hear what you're thinking.
Yes. So
I know it's a little old school.
For that's totally not like me at all. For those longtime listeners may remember, back in 2009, I announced that I had I borrowed Grand Theft Auto 4 from a friend, and I had popped it in my game system and made it all the way to the apartment and took a nap, and then got that first achievement and proceeded to never play it again. And that wasn't necessarily because I hated that first little bit. It didn't enthrall me.
Yeah.
I think I've voiced my... I've talked about...
Your Red Dead issues?
Well, there's that, and then there's also Grand Theft Auto where, you have to be a bad guy. And so sometimes I just don't feel like playing that sort of game.
Sure.
But then with Red Dead Redemption, I started to feel like I have this Rockstar problem where I can't complete these Rockstar games because, Red Dead I've restarted 3 times, I think, and I still need to restart it again. And I kind of pinpointed the problem. I've talked about it on the show before. I pinpointed the problem. I enjoy their worlds too much.
Yeah.
And I enjoy just kind of...
You get lost in it.
Putzing around and doing what I want to do, and so then I lose track of the story that's going on, and I getting back into it, I'm like, I have no clue what to do, and so it just fizzles out for me. And so I have this plan this year. Before the year is done, I'm going to try. I want to finish the story at least for Grand Theft Auto 4 and the story for Red Dead Redemption.
Nice.
And so what I'm going to do is just concentrate on story missions and not worry about anything else. And then when I'm done with that, I can putz around and do whatever.
That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
And so that's what I've been doing with Grand Theft Auto. Is I've been focusing on just the story missions. And as I was getting into it a little bit. Then I checked out a few achievements just to see if there's things I could be picking up while I went along. And then I fucking noticed that there's an achievement for finishing all the story missions in under 30 hours. And I said, motherfuckers. I'm like over 20 hours in there.
Yeah.
I think I still have 20-some main missions left or something like that. I should be able to hit it and still have a few hours to spare or something like that. But... and so I did want to mention that as a caveat as well. So notice that I am not going around doing whatever the hell I want. I'm doing what the game is telling me to do.
Sure.
Now, with that caveat, that should get a caveat as well. In terms of a good game design should make that appealing when it's forcing you to do things, right?
Gotcha.
And I know this is the same sort of criticism that you could technically level against pretty much any game, but it's so repetitive. The missions that I have to do. They come in 3 flavors. Drive all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Shoot every fucking buddy.
Yeah.
Or, my favorite, drive all over the fucking place and then shoot every fucking buddy and then drive all over the fucking place again.
Get away.
Yeah.
Lose the cops.
I'm sorry, there's a 4th one where it's drive all over the fucking place while shooting at everybody.
I was wondering where that one was at.
Yeah, which is the worst of them all. I try to forget that one. But they seem to love it, especially on motorcycles. And so, the big thing that gets me in the game is when you're not just running around and exploring the world just feels too big. Because I have to fucking drive everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, even when the mission itself isn't about driving somewhere, I have to fucking drive there first.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon to be like, okay, so this guy has a mission for me, so I need to drive, across town to go visit him. Oh, imagine that. His mission is clear of fucking across town. Let's go drive through this. And so then I gotta listen to this dialogue, and they're trying to be witty and making fun of each other and all this stuff. And I drive clear across town, try not to run into cop cars, because if you run into cop cars, congratulations, you've just added about 5 minutes onto your travel time, because you're gonna have to lose those cops before you can progress any further.
It's just like real life, Craig.
Exactly. But I'm trying to go as fast as possible because I'm like, fuck this. I need to get over there. So you spend like almost literally 10 minutes, even when you're avoiding the cops, getting to half the missions.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get out, and one of the million things that can go wrong in any mission happens in the first 30 seconds, and so then you die. And so then you have to restart because they don't have a checkpoint where you arrive at your destination.
Yeah.
So again, I appear in my wherever I'm at, and then I have to drive back to go get the mission started. Then I have to drive them and listen to the same fucking shit over again. This hit a critical mass with the bank heist mission.
Yeah.
Because because it was.
Isn't that a popular problems point for people? Didn't you have an issue with that bank heist one?
You know what? The last thing I remember about that is the DLC, the motorcycle game.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I remember playing
Yeah,
that.
and I enjoyed that more than I did the game.
I seem to remember
and I don't-
a lot of people getting stuck on this bank heist
I
part.
think I might have.
It seemed to be a
Because
problem.
it's long.
I
It's
think I
really
may
long.
have.
It's got
And
a
there's
long
a
drive,
complicated end part to it, right?
and the AI is fucking moronic.
Yeah. I
Because
think it might be flooded.
I literally so it took me like 10 tries just to figure out figure out the best way to kind of get through all that.
Uh-huh.
And I admit there's people probably could have done better, but I was very frustrated at that point by then, so I probably was not being as careful as I could have been. But I finally figured it out. One time I had gotten to the end point, and then because it prompts you to do pretty much everything, or you follow you follow the other dudes.
Yeah.
But then they weren't doing anything; they were just standing there, and I didn't realize my job was to go grab a car and then pull it over, so then we could get away before the cops show up. So the cops show up and they shoot us all. And so then I kind of figured that out, and so I get back to that part, and I'm hauling ass out of the subway, and I bust out, and I'm like, "Where's the car? Where's the car?" There's no cars nearby, of course, so I have to run like a half block to grab a car. Grab a car, and then I notice there's a message at the bottom, and it's like, "You've lost your, these dudes. Like, you're too far away." And I'm like, motherfuckers, they can't fucking keep up with me on this shit. And so then I'm like, all right, fuck it. And I'm looking at the map, and they're back at like where I came out from the subway. So the cops are just now starting to show up too, so I'm peeling out in this minivan, of course, because of course the game always gives me the fucking shittiest cars they possibly can.
Yes.
Although 90% of the cars are shitty for driving in the game, which is why it's awesome that they make you drive everywhere.
I just like Craig showing up. He's like, "Get in!" They're like, "You got a fucking minivan!"
Well, I wish that's how it worked, because I peel out. I pop up on the curb. I'm like dodging these sculptures and benches, and then I'm like, "Where are they? Where are they?" And I peel. I skid to a stop right in front of there, and it's still saying, "You are too far away." And I'm like, where the fuck are these motherfuckers? How far back did I leave them? More cops are starting to show up. I start to hear the attack helicopter coming in the view. I jump out of the minivan. I kick open the door to run down there. The motherfuckers are standing on the landing like 8 feet below the door. I'm like, you guys can't come out and get in the goddamn van? And then they're like, ooh, let's move now, okay. And then they're running ahead of me. Yeah, now you run. And then they stand around because they don't know the minivan's for us until I hop in.
Yes.
We thankfully survived that because I think I probably would have broken the disc and had to buy a new one from the friend who loaned it to me.
Is it the one where at the end of the thing you go to that abandoned house?
Maybe. There's abandoned everythings. If you do all the story missions in a row, there's like an abandoned city here.
It's really funny because what I love about the Rockstar games is the variety of stuff, and so it's the other things that distract me.
Yeah.
And at the same time okay, I did a bunch of missions, now I can go do these other things, and then eventually I get tired of doing those other things and I go back to the mission.
Exactly. And that's the way I think they want it to
when
work.
you extrapolate those extra things,
it's fucking terrible.
I do get how it boils down to the same cookie cutter, this thing, I'll do this thing, and so that's what the thing is when I eventually play through and do those missions, and a lot of things are similar, then I'm like, okay, I need to take a break from this and go do this other stuff.
Right.
But if you specifically don't do that,
I can't do that though
because you're not going to come back.
It's not going to finish if I do that.
So
especially because I hate it now.
And I have that same problem with Red Dead. With Red Dead, in an instance where the Mexico portion of that game is really long. I found. Okay. And so I was going into the same boat where I'm like, I just need to get through this Mexico thing. Right. And I would do it and do it and do it, and I'm like, oh, come on.
It can be grueling.
Just do this. Although I think I found less repetition in Red Dead. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's story missions I was maybe more invested in Red Dead. I think that might be.
Yeah. I mean, another thing is
a better character.
Another thing is that these are all story missions, but half of them don't really contribute to the story at all.
They're just progressing.
There's no real reason. I mean, I have issues with the story as well. I haven't finished the story yet, but all through it, it's been because they were trying to contextualize things and build some sympathy for Nico in terms of he's got this personal thing that's not really about being a criminal, because they changed the formula before was you're a criminal, you want to be a more powerful criminal. Yep. You might not be able to sympathize with that, but the logic is super easy to understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you just forget, why you want to do things, and you just do what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But here they try to kind of make you sympathize with Nico, and it fails so frequently. There are moments, particularly moments with his cousin, like when they're just having conversations, maybe even in the car or something like that, that I really like. Mm-hmm. And
that was their whole thing on this game when it initially launched. They're like, this is a different kind of GTA.
Yeah.
It's a smarter, he's a better person.
He's
like
not, though.
I agree.
Because
he's
half of the story missions, I mean, I understand when he's like, okay, I'm going to do these missions for you because you promised to find this guy for me.
Yep.
That's fine. But then half the shit that he does, he just, he
doesn't have to
as long as you pay me money. And I'm like, I have motherfucking $400,000 in the bank. I'm not spending this on anything. What the hell do you need more money for?
Right.
And I think some of it could have just, I don't think they needed to make everything a story mission. I think they could have had, different side mission paths that branched out. Because I think it ruined, I mean, if you wanted to be that guy who was going to go for money and go be a criminal, that's great. You can do that. But to make that a part of the story, quote unquote, it just kind of trashes this sympathy that
the spin they put on Nico does not match with what the game plays. And I know what they wanted to say, that this is like a different version. Right. This is a different character, and it's a sympathetic one where he doesn't want to have this life and he's trying to do good. And the game systematically, up until even the very end, and at the very end the most, destroys everything that they're saying about that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, that's been my huge sticking point with that game.
And spoiler here, the first girl that they try to hook you up with turns out to be working for the government or something like that.
Yeah.
And also, Nico, you're an idiot. I figured that out on the car ride picking her up. Her first phone call. I'm like, oh, so she's a cop, huh?
I really don't
Nico's
remember.
already off the boat.
I really don't remember that much of that game. To be honest with you, I got to a point where
maybe you didn't finish it.
I didn't. I know
you didn't.
I know I didn't.
Oh, okay.
You should finish it by the end of the year.
Lost in no doubt. Lost in the Dam is what kept me going on that game.
Right.
So I mean,
I think that smaller. I think the problem was that they just tried to load too much in, and their ambitions didn't fit with that idea of here's a ton of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so a smaller sandbox to play in would probably work a lot better.
And I will say that what they pitched as the idea of Nico playing him and like how his character is exactly what they did in Red Dead.
Right.
And you are playing a good guy in Red Dead. And to the point where they don't let you be bad in some instances.
Right.
And that was successful.
Yes.
And it's like that's where they did it right.
Exactly.
And it's so much better.
Exactly. It is. And all the stuff with like balancing these friendships.
The girlfriends and the friends, and it becomes a pain in the balls. It's fun. Even the girlfriends, like, because you didn't want to worry about it, whatever.
Right.
But like the friends, like the guys that you had to still go out and do stuff with, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Some pool.
Let's not.
I always say yes, and then I call back 2 seconds later and cancel it.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Well, I'm usually driving on my way to a mission, and so I'm like,
I got something to do.
I want them to think that I would do it with them.
Oh, I checked. That's not going to work.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll reschedule.
We're called.
I gotta kill a bunch of people.
Oh, I'd like to find out what you do for your work. Yeah, okay, cop.
Okay, cop, that's not gonna happen. Okay,
well,
cop.
I'm sorry, what I was going to say about that was that, and then there's the big reveal, she's a police. I'm like, duh. But then even ignoring that, then Nico's all indignant about it, and I'm like, you seriously cannot be indignant about this thing because you were shooting people in the face before you picked her up in the SUV that you stole from somebody and then smashed into other things.
And now he's mad about she's lying to him.
Yeah, exactly.
He just ran over people, pulling up to her house.
Exactly.
Ugh.
I don't go on as much Rampage in this version either. I remember, maybe, I can't remember Vice City, but I remember Grand Theft Auto 3 where that was just me doing, as you know, getting things
Crazy
as
stuff.
crazy as humanly
Well, it also was
possible.
the first time in real life, in a video game
true.
experience, that you could do that
That's
stuff.
true, that's
Yeah.
true.
So you're like overload on it, like, what?
That's true, but I think because they're trying to funnel you into this story idea, that idea is very distasteful to me. And so, you know, the idea of going crazy, and I'm sure people do that, and I'm sure people have no problem with that, but
Well, that was really...
that's not what
I hate to keep tying it to
Connected.
Red Dead, but that's another one where in that, I didn't go into towns and like, I'm going to create as much chaos as possible.
No,
we did in multiplayer because that was fun.
Oh,
to, like,
sure,
mess around.
Yeah.
But by myself, I wouldn't just go in and like, I'm going to kill all these people because there's no benefit to it.
Right.
No.
It's like there's no upside
Right.
at all.
Mhm.
It's just I guess if you want to see how long you can survive, but what the fun is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I do it right before I'm going to save my game and end.
Yeah.
Then I just go on a rampage and then I just turn it off.
Yeah.
I think you've mentioned that before.
I
on
just
the
do
show.
that stuff.
That's usually
the unwind button.
Yeah, I
That's
do
funny.
that on those games where you do that save and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go fuck some shit up.
Tie up a guy, leave him, like drag him on your horse,
Yeah.
do stuff, just go in and terrorize
Leave
the
them on the
town.
train track, sit there on your horse waiting for the train to come.
I did do that. All that kind of stuff. And then
Yeah.
you just, I'm going to shut it off.
Yep. My guy's good still. He's alright.
That room with 50 people tied up,
Oh god.
stuff like that.
That was a horror.
So anyway, anything else on GTA, or you...
I don't know.
I look forward to hearing more. You're going to finish it by the end of the
Because
year,
a lot
right?
of people, yeah, oh yeah,
Okay. Might
I'm pretty
inspire me.
close. I'm pretty close anyway.
Get another chapter.
And I feel like I know a lot of people like it, and I feel like they're going to say I'm hating on it just to
No, I
be
think
different.
no.
But I find it fundamentally flawed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it is a 4-year-old game, but even ignoring things like advances in gameplay and all that stuff, no, ugh.
I mean, formulaic, it hasn't changed much from 3.
And my fiance can't understand why I'm still playing it, even though I openly say that I hate the game.
That's why, that drives
See, there it
sometimes.
is. Yep.
Well, you know me.
Hate drives more than love.
I have more animosity for this than I did for that James Bond game.
No, really?
Yeah.
The one you had to keep redoing?
Yeah, that one race,
Yeah.
losing my life 30 seconds at a time.
Well, good luck. I can't wait. I'm actually more excited for you to finish Red Dead.
My favorite part is, though, driving 10 minutes, getting there, saying, get on this motorcycle, and then driving immediately into a curb and flying off of it, because apparently 5 miles an hour throws you off of things 100 yards away, and then getting back to the motorcycle, him taking 5 seconds to get on the motorcycle, because apparently he has no hustle, and then you've lost the person that you were chasing, and then you have to start over again. That's good mission design.
It's those AIs that try to get in cars and then they take the long way around. Has that ever happened to you? Where an AI, you like you were saying on that heist mission, well, there's been times where they won't go into the
or they'll just keep walking into the back of that minivan.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and,
and then I try to pull forward, and then it bumps them, and then they freak out, and so then they try to go around the front, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, you should be able to pick those people up and just throw them into the car.
It is a rage machine.
You're going to have that. There's so much stuff going on in that game.
More profanity comes out of my mouth than out of the game.
In the game. I'm excited for you to finish Red Dead.
Yeah. Well, I am too. I've wanted to finish that one. But
I was going to ask, have you avoided... I don't know how in tune you are with stuff, but do you know anything that happens at the end of Red Dead, or are you still kind of in the dark? Or do you have an idea of things that happen?
I don't think I have like a clear idea.
Nice.
I mean, I've heard some rumblings and stuff, but
Okay.
It's late now, so
it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
No one really brings it up anymore.
I know it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. I'm a spoiler baby on behalf of other people as well.
It mattered to me too. Like I was like
if you would have said, yeah, I know how it ends, I know key elements at the end, I would have been as mad as if somebody would have ruined it for me. Even though you don't care. Like, I know that, but that's,
I know.
The only thing I'm empathetic about is spoilers. That's the only thing.
Is it really empathy if the other person's not feeling it?
Well, what would that be?
You project.
Would that be projection?
I think so. Maybe.
I would be feeling their feelings that I wish they would have. Yeah, I guess it would be projecting, because I'm projecting it on you.
Yeah.
Empathetic projection?
Yeah, sure. There you go.
Is that a new thing?
Yes.
Did we just make that?
Yes. It is totally
Science.
Are we done? Are we done making
I've
new
got
things?
nothing else.
All right.
Thankfully.
Signedinpodcast.com is our website. Please go there for a link to our Twitter page, which I am on Twitter as signedinpodcast. Sean is on Twitter as
Shonix.
And Craig is on Twitter as
At the Pullist.
Yeah. And the link
Add the at.
yeah.
Don't
In case people don't
literally
know.
write at the Pullist.
at the pull list.
At. I love it.
You can find links to our Facebook fan page over there as well, so we'd love to hear you contributing over on Facebook. All of our past episodes are forums. Please sign up on our forums and comment. Not just spam comments like that guy a couple weeks ago. And other pseudo radio shows, including The Pull List, as Craig mentioned, and 3 Die Block. And you guys just did a team up with
Burnt Wieners.
Burnt Wieners
Burnt
podcast.
Wieners,
that's correct.
So that's going to be coming out when? Do we know?
Shortly,
yeah, within the next couple weeks.
Okay, so look for that as well. The Burnt Wieners cast, dudes, and you guys.
Yes.
Full list was all 3
And
of you?
Jonathan Sims, too.
Yeah, it was all 3 of us. Yeah, there's
Okay.
6 total.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Old school.
Yes.
exactly.
A round table.
I moved the studio out into the dining room so we'd have enough room to sit
Portable studio.
It was.
So it's sort of. This table gets really small.
When you have 6 people on it?
No, I mean, like, it can shrink. I just pushed it out of the door, like, standing upright.
You put it in your pocket?
Yeah, practically. If I took the legs off, it
It's a
probably wouldn't work
shrinking
out.
That is crazy.
Because these are leaves. Anyway.
This is very interesting. Maybe you can give a diagram to go along with the episode and you can show Craig's table deconstruction.
Check.
Email us at comments@signedinpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you on email if you have a question or comment that you don't want to post in public. Maybe you have a private question.
Yeah. For any of us.
I probably won't answer it, but you can email me at comments@signedinpodcast.com. And stay tuned for contests that we have had lined up for a while now and haven't done anything with. So we have a couple things to give out that maybe we'll do it through the show, maybe through our forums, maybe through Twitter, maybe through Facebook. I don't really know yet. We have multiple, so maybe in all of those places. So stay tuned for that, and we'll have more information
Excellent.
down the road. Next episode, Assassin's Creed 3 is coming out. I hope that goes above and beyond. I have high expectations for it.
It's
Above
always
and beyond the
weird for
last
me to hear
game.
that Assassin's Creed 3 is coming out because
Since there's been 8 games.
yes, exactly. I'm like, what?
There's been 8 games since 2.
Is this the Civil War one?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
not
Not
Civil War,
Revolutionary
Revolutionary War?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm highly interested in the
You want to kill some
story.
bears?
I do.
I think the story would be pretty fun.
I'm hoping that it goes above. I'm trying to forget the last one because that left a sour taste in my mouth.
Which one was the last one?
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. The one after Brotherhood.
Revelation?
That might be it.
Yeah, I never played that one.
I can't remember.
I never played
didn't
any
like
of
it.
them.
It's the one that had the RTS. Like all of a sudden, it had the real-time strategy thing
Oh,
going
yeah,
on.
yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. I hated it. Anyway, so that's coming out. Halo 4 is coming out.
Sweet.
I think I'm going to check out Halo 4.
Nice.
I like how it looks. And then Black Ops 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Lego Lord of the Rings. We're getting into the holiday season. It snuck up on me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games coming out.
I might have that DLC pack that came out for Metro 2033 actually.
Nice.
Because Metro 2033 went like 50%. It was like $10.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm
When's the new game coming out?
2013.
Oh, it got pushed to next year?
I think it's first
Okay.
quarter, if I remember correctly, or it might not be that specific.
I just remember
but-
the awesome trailer.
Yeah, it's still coming out. It's just it'll be 2013.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We good? Any last moments? Anyone want to say anything?
Double Dragon's
It's our
been,
last moments.
I'm
Double
gonna kill
Dragon's
it.
been kicking my ass. I played a little bit of that.
Man, I hope they get that patch out for the.
Why didn't you talk about it in
I
XBLA?
know. There wasn't much to talk about. It's been kicking my ass.
Really?
Well, why are you
Yeah.
wasting our time now?
We're done. That was why I got to get all that off my chest. I want to say I want to get to the end of that game. Hopefully that'll be it by next show.
Don't cry about it. You all right?
I want to play games.
All right. Well, let's go do it.
Right now. Later.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.